Welcome back to Heads Up SA. Today we are diving into Mbalula's latest sit-down with ENCA, where the ANC Secretary General didn't hold back. He addressed the controversies around Gigaba, Mchunu, and even fired shots at Donald Trump and right-wing NGOs spreading false claims about the so-called white genocide in South Africa. Let's break it down. Mbalula has made it clear that ANC's stance on leaders facing legal trouble hasn't changed. If you are charged in a court of law, you are expected to step aside or face internal disciplinary processes. He explained that in Mchunu's case, there are no criminal charges, only allegations being examined by the Madlanga Commission. Because of that, Mchunu was referred to the ANC's Integrity Commission, something Mbalula says Mchunu himself offered to do. That process, according to Mbalula, is still unfolding.
The step-aside rule does not say if it is alleged you have done something, you must step aside. In the case of Senzo, we subjected that to the Integrity Commission, to be advised by Integrity Commission, and therefore he did voluntarily make that particular provision that he wishes to step aside for the duration of these proceedings.
But why has the ANC not accepted that offer?
I've explained that it does.
But I don't understand why, because your policy says that if you are alleged, I know he's been put on special.
No, it doesn't say we are.
So what does it say? What does the policy say?
The policy says that if you are charged in a court of law, you are required to step aside voluntarily, or otherwise you'll be subjected to disciplinary process. In this instance, there was no charge. These were allegations which were going to be tested through a process of a commission. In that regard, we then subjected him to the Integrity Commission, of which he had already made an offer to appear before the commission. And in this particular instance, that matter is unfolding.
Okay, because he's not charged, therefore he's not stepping aside.
We wouldn't say anyone step aside on the allegations. And in this particular instance, these were allegations which are now before the commission. Senzo had made that offer. If the ANC decided that he must step aside on the basis of that, that will fly against our rules, but at the same time, it will lay a precedent that will mean we've got to be consistent. In this instance, now that the commission have started and the Integrity Commission have not finalized its work that we have deferred to it to look at matters of integrity, it's up to the executive to decide what it does, because this commission does affect the ANC negatively. And
of course it does. There are serious implications here.
No, it does, because of individuals who happen to lead in the matters that are being dealt with before the commission.
As for Gigaba, Mbalula said the former minister hasn't been charged, only summoned by the Investigating Directorate of Anti-Corruption, IDEC. So the ANC says there's no reason to apply the step-aside rule at this stage.
Gigaba.
Gigaba, it is also unclear to us whether he is charged or not charged. He was called by IDEC to appear before it, and that's where it ended. And so he did explain himself in public that he was not charged. Should he have been charged, I'm sure by now he would have stepped aside voluntarily.
Okay, but are you monitoring that as the ANC to figure out if he is charged, then he will have to step aside?
We are monitoring every individual who happened to be faced with such challenges and at the same time occupying a leadership role in the movement. So Malusi is no exception. So our rule of step aside have never had eyes. It has applied to everyone faced with such challenges when it comes to the African National Congress.
Mbalula dismissed claims that the ANC rejected Mchunu's offer to step aside, calling such narratives deliberate distortions of the truth. He emphasized that the ANC remains committed to due process, no shortcuts, no political witch hunts.
Let's move over to other pressing issues within the ANC. Did you deny the offer by Senzo Mchunu to step aside, and why?
Let me correct that. It is incorrect that we denied. And at the same time, I see your headline you are running with. It says that the ANC rejected. It didn't. I explained here in your show. I'm doing it again for the second time. I did explain that position in a press conference of the ANC. Coming from the NEC, the ANC has got a step-aside rule which relate to members of the ANC who are appearing before courts to actually step aside. When it comes to matters of integrity, we deferred that to the Integrity Commission. I did report that Senzo appeared voluntarily before the Integrity Commission. There was no way that the NEC or its structure, the NWC, could have taken a decision for him to step aside. Should he have done what he has done voluntarily, we subjected that to Integrity Commission. That was even before the events have actually started. We look and do an evaluation of the events of Madlanga Commission weekly. And tomorrow we'll do the same. And then we'll weigh up whether should we take the offer, because we can't do something to Senzo which we will not do to another person. The rules are the same.
So
if we wanted...
The conversation then shifted to reports that the US government could impose sanctions on certain ANC members supposedly linked to the white genocide narrative being pushed by far-right groups. Mbalula didn't mince his words. He slammed those groups as unpatriotic South Africans who distort transformation and redress policies to make the ANC look bad internationally. He reminded viewers that transformation laws exist to level the playing field after apartheid, not to target any racial group. He accused these organizations of campaigning for sanctions against South Africa to protect privilege, calling their actions anti-democratic and anti-progress.
A bunch of unpatriotic South Africans. When all failed, they said the sanctions must be directed to the ANC. They distorted our policies, which are about redress, which are about the transformation of this country from where we come from. We are not like any other nation in the world. We are leveling the playing field, and if you ask the ANC to stop redress policies, it's like saying close the shop. The reason why we were formed, we were against racial domination, but at the same time we were against suppression and oppression of a people, and those people who were oppressed have now found their voice, and at the same time we need to level the playing field. And it is reflected even in the structure of our economy that 30 years into democracy, as much as people talk about BEE, but in that BEE the biggest beneficiaries continues to be those who even benefited before and more, and they continue to even benefit in the African continent. So in this particular instance, we believe that their own criticism of their own country doesn't make them South Africans.
Many are saying what they have done is borderline treason. Do you agree with that?
It is borderline treason, but it sort of meets its partnership in Donald Trump, because it's not the first time that they've been trying this in the US, and governments under different presidents in the United States, Republican or whatsoever, have always respected South Africa's sovereignty. For the first time in a democratic dispensation, that we are met with this, persecution by an administration which will we
work
thought
is
would
just
have
too
looked
much.
at South Africa
And we must
differently,
remember that
even
in
if
2026
they might
we're
have
having
their
a local
own,
government
you
election.
know,
And I know from
issues and so
previous
on, but they will treat this
that,
country as a democratic
election
country
at
and a
local
sovereign
government
state.
So what do you do
level,
as the ANC,
takes much more
especially
time,
within the context of your
as on
GNU
national
partners,
or provincial
that have a very
level.
different
So that is
stance
one
also when it
reason.
comes
I
to
will continue as
relations with the
Minister,
United States?
of Correctional
What are you going to
Services.
do?
I
Have you
also
discussed
informed
this as the
President
ANC?
before the time,
We
that
have
this is what is
discussed
going to
this,
happen,
and
he said, he wants me to continue
we
as
have
minister,
encouraged
because,
our
what
government,
I
which
have to
it
do,
has done so,
and as leader
to
of the
engage,
Freedom Front
which
Plus,
is what
the
they are
work is
doing
just
with the
too much.
United States of
And
America.
we must remember
And
that
we
in
welcome the
2026 we're
efforts
having
led by
a
the
local
president.
government election.
I think
And I
there were
know
mixed
from
views
previous
about President
experiences
going to the US,
that,
and as the ANC,
the
we said it
election
is
at
correct.
local government
A president of
level,
a country will
takes
stand up
much
for his
more time,
nation, and not
as
for
on a
begging.
national.
And then came parts that got social media buzzing. Mbalula's response to Donald Trump. He blasted the former US president for refusing to attend the G20 summit, describing Trump's white genocide excuse as ignorant and baseless. According to Mbalula, while South Africans sent a full delegation to the US, Trump chose to play a movie instead of engaging diplomatically. Mbalula said Trump's administration has always treated South Africa like a subordinate state rather than a sovereign nation, calling that attitude imperialist and unacceptable. He ended with a bold statement: the G20 will go ahead with or without Trump.
We had a whole delegation led by the president, and then he played a movie for us there, and about our own situation. Trump's administration have got no regard for our sovereignty. They think that we are a substructure or a sub-country of the United States of America, which we believe that it is very unfortunate on their part, and therefore our country must go ahead, and the G20 will take place without them. It's unfortunate that they've stirred up things which in our view as the ANC borders on imperialism. We are an anti-imperialist organization. We don't believe in the dominance of economic situations of other countries by the superpowers. We believe in fair trade relations between nations and within the context of the multilateral approach. And in this particular regard, everything that Trump and his administration are doing flies against that. We are a constitutional state and a democratic state for that matter.
So there you have it, Fikile Mbalula setting the record straight on the ANC's internal processes, defending South Africa's sovereignty. What do you think? Is the ANC handling these matters fairly, or is there still more accountability needed? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Stay tuned for more South African political updates right here on Heads Up SA.